Well, thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, man, it's always awesome to be here, man. You know, and from walking in the door to sitting down and getting what I need to live my best day, man. I always love coming to Onus.
I appreciate you saying that, and it's always been a pleasure to have you when you come in. It's like when I see the appointment show up on my phone, I'm just like, yes.
That's the thing, man. It's good to work with and spend time with people who you like and care about, and that's why, I mean, there's a lot of people in the IV nutrient game, but you know, I like you guys because I trust you guys, I like you guys, and I always feel like you're thinking about what I need. You know, even sometimes giving a suggestion, hey, you might want this, or hey, a lot of people are using, you know, zinc right now because it's flu season. So I mean, you always contribute to my experience.
Well, it's got to work, you know. I think one of the best parts about getting to work with you is that you are more health conscious, I'd say, than a lot of people are when they come in. Yeah. And I'm really curious about that. You know, most of the time people come in, they don't know where to start. So our nurse will have to walk them through, you know, where do you go? Are you looking for health and wellness? Are you looking for something reactive like a hangover? Usually we're the ones leading the conversation, but the first time you ever came in, you led the conversation. You knew exactly what you wanted. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your personal health, especially as like a professional athlete, it's paramount. You know, I went through, in my first 4 seasons in the NFL, I had 3 surgeries, you know, and the last 6 seasons, you know, I had none. And that was because I'd made that personal commitment to a lifestyle of health and performance. And, you know, whether it's amino acids, extra fluid, you know, I really understood the benefit of that. And it really happened when I was in Houston, right? Because I got to Houston coming from Denver, and they had practice like 2 hours earlier than I usually practice. I'm like, what the heck's going on? You know? And all of a sudden, I'm halfway through practice. I almost died because I had lost 8 pounds. I mean, not really died, but like I was like, man, coach, I can't even listen to the play because I dropped 8 pounds the first day. And I realized coming in the second day that all the veterans were getting IVs. So really fluids started coming in that kind of 5th year for me in the NFL. And it's always, you know, we would take it before games. We would take it, and, you know, sometimes it helps after games. You know what I mean? I know that's why a lot of people come here too. It just helps reset your fluid levels, and that helps everything from recovery to increased performance, duration of performance. So for me, when I first came in, I was like, man, I've been waiting for y'all. This is what I need. I need amino acids, vitamin C, zinc, you know, I want the Myers cocktail. Give me that, you know, because all of it matters. And as a professional athlete, and really as somebody who committed to a lifestyle of health, you know what's available and you know what you can use. And I was fortunate to find you guys.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing that. I'm glad we started the company. It's given us the opportunity to meet so many people like yourself, you know, people who are on this journey who knew what they wanted. And I'm just happy it's here for you guys, you know?
Yeah, I'm happy, you know, whether it's a Sunday, you know, after a big weekend, you know, I've missed, you know, rounds of the family sickness from my kids and wife. They'll be all sick, but I've come in and get an IV, and it's helped me skip that round to, you know, really too with broadcasting and stuff that I'm doing and speaking. I travel a lot, and sometimes I'm just wiped from the time zone change or from not eating the best food on a trip, and you know, coming in, you know, and oftentimes I'm between events. So, you know, coming in, seeing you guys, and being able to really set the appointment at my convenience has been awesome for me, and it helps me recharge, refuel, and that's why I continue to use it.
That's awesome, man. Well, I really enjoy, you know, seeing you when you come in the space, and part of that is the conversations we get to have, because you get to learn about everyone, you know, you get to hear about their likes, their wants, why they came in, where they're going to. In a lot of ways, you feel like a bartender, you know. If I was a bartender at the airport, that's probably the closest I could come to this, because everyone's on a journey headed somewhere, and this is just like a quick pit stop, you know.
Yeah, well, and at pit stops, what do? You refuel, right? You get everything you need for the journey you're about to go on, so it makes sense you feel like that.
What's your next journey? What are you looking forward to?
Man, what I love now, you know, after 10 years in the NFL, I love telling people I'm retired, man. You know, I'm 32 years old, black and retired. That's an anomaly. You thought Barack Obama was something, right? But so I'm retired, man.
Yeah.
But in retirement, I love to continue to serve my community, and that starts with my family, being present. I'm there every morning when my kids wake up, something I wasn't able to do for their lifetime while we were in the NFL. Not moving. Man, I moved 18 times in 5 years with my wife. We had 2 kids. I mean, that's a lot, so we were done moving. And I do the radio show and TV with Altitude TV and Altitude Radio. So I love that because I get to educate and humanize the sports that everybody loves, because whether you're talking about football, hey, somebody had a bad day. Well, one Broncos player had a drop, one week, and he also had his first kid that Tuesday. So, I was able to tell people like, hey, that first week when you're a parent is rough. I don't care whether you're playing in the NFL or whether you're, going to work. That's a tough week. So being able to humanize the sport, talk about how the fact that there's multi-billion-dollar contracts for college football playoffs, and the kids can't even get money to send their parents there. You know what I mean? So I get the opportunity to talk about that, and I really enjoy the speaking I do. I do speaking for corporations, organizations, charity organizations, sales teams, and for me, when I won the Super Bowl, everything I believed about myself came true for everyone else. I want people to have that moment in their life. I want people to believe in themselves and understand the hard work that it takes, understand the hard work that everybody who's successful that you had to do to start Onus IV goes through, and really encourage people to live their wildest dreams. And I have a lot of fun doing that.
That's awesome. You've got the perfect avenue for that, There's something you said. It's like that humanization of the athletes is something you really enjoy. Do you feel like now people know you better, or do you think people knew you better when you were in the NFL? Like you're on the street and someone just knows something about you.
That's interesting because I was thinking about that the other day. I think people know me better now, and I also think it's because there's so many, if I was in the league still, I think people would still know me more because there's, I got on Instagram lately, I'm a newcomer to Instagram. Twitter was my thing, but all the way up, it starts at the 12th floor and then the penthouse, you gotta keep going up. But I think people see a lot more with social media that, hey, I have a family, I live in Denver. I go to the zoo lights, that are out here in Denver. And when you start seeing people eating at the restaurants you've been to, going to the things you go to, going to concerts like the Reminders and Lupe Fiasco, like people see that you're a regular person. That's so important, because in sports, people pay for that ticket, they buy that sweatshirt, and they feel like, and they do, rightfully, they take out everything that's going on in their life on that team, on those players. If, they look for the joy and passion that they may or may not be experiencing at their job on that team on Sundays. And when I talk on the radio, when I bring up different points, when I agree with certain points, I think people really get to understand, hey, these are human beings who have ideas, who speak, who go to movies, and it really helps them get an understanding that sports is really bringing the community together, and part of that is recognizing each and every individual.
It's the ultimate equalizer, sport.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what race, religion, and that's been an adjustment for me.
Versus me.
Yeah. You versus me, or when we won the Super Bowl, just us, right? We are coming to this game. We don't care about you because we're going to whoop your tail because we know what we're supposed to do. We've overcome. And those moments are so powerful and they last so long. And really, those experiences, those situations don't exist outside of sports, right? We barricade ourselves with people that look and think like us, and we don't jokingly challenge each other on ideas, and that's one of the things that I'll always miss about a locker room is having so many people from so many different places who you would never speak to. You're having lunch, breakfast, and and hanging out with. So that's one of the great things about sports.
That's really cool. Do you miss that at all about being on that team and having that camaraderie to overcome things together, or is that's done now and then on to the new?
I was fortunate. I'm one of 5 players that I know that retired. Got to call their retirement. 2 of those other ones are Peyton Manning and DeMarcus Ware. It shows you how tough it is in the NFL. Most guys retire because of an injury or because of a lack of talent, so it can be really, really tough. But I really challenge myself to let go of things and but also build into things that I do love. I love teamwork and camaraderie. I love dialogue and discussion. So that's what I have with my team at Altitude Radio. You know, Vic Lombardi and I at Altitude TV, we have a blast every day. We talk about Notre Dame, you know, one of my favorite subjects to talk about. So we have fun all the time. And so I take where I've been and the lessons I've learned, the things that I enjoy, and I bring them to my life every day. Yeah. And I think that helps me to continue to live the kind of life I want to lead in retirement.
That's awesome. I really appreciate you telling me about that. One thing, we should talk a little bit about what you're getting today, if that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, when you first came in, you designed your own IV called the Champ.
Right.
That was after the Super Bowl.
Right.
And today you're getting something a little different. You're getting the Myers cocktail with some glutathione and some zinc.
Yeah.
What's your game plan?
Well, I love the Myers cocktail because it's been around since like 1954, right? They used to give it to like pilots and stuff. So anything that lasts and stands the test of time is good for you, you know, and that's what I love about Onus too, is I can come get a different IV, right? You know, like sometimes I get the A team, other times I get my cocktail, the Champ, which includes everything, you know what I mean?
Dude, when we were sitting there and like usually people will like, sorry to cut you off, but like usually people will want to trade one thing out because, you know, we're always trying to make sure it's within your budget,
right,
you know?
Right.
You know, we're always trying to help people out. We'll use different size, different dosages, whatever, you know, just to make sure it's yours, you know, it's your body, your health. So, but you've always known what to do, and I love that about it.
Well, I mean, to me, you never waste a single penny on your health, right? And for me, that's how I look at it. And to be a champion, right, you got to go through training camp, OTAs, the regular season, 3 playoff games, and the Super Bowl, right? So for me to come in and see a list of things, it's like, oh, I want all these things. You know, I need all these things. And sometimes I do. You know, sometimes it's been a couple months since I've come through. Sometimes it's been in a situation where I need more to recover. And other times, like the John Maris cocktail, I like it because it helps me relax. You know, the vitamin C is talked about as kind of the stress buster, right? So,
well, it's actually the magnesium in that's going to help lower your cortisol a bit. That's also what you would get to help prevent that cramping.
Yeah, so you know, whether it's being tight on an airplane, you know what I mean, or coming through, a workout, like the Myers cocktail to me it helps me just feel relaxed, feel recovered. And, you know, that's why I really like changing it up sometimes between the A team, the Myers cocktail, and the Champ, is to get, you know, sometimes I need everything and sometimes I want something different. And they all have the vitamin B in it, which brings that energy back, which as a parent, sometimes you need energy just because it's Tuesday, you know what I mean? And or as an we got the rest of the day left, right? Or as an athlete, you know, perhaps, you know, and I love doing CrossFit workouts and yoga, and some of those hot yogas wipe you out, especially with fluids. So I come in and I get what I need here at Onus.
How long have you been doing yoga? I should ask.
Bro, I've been doing yoga 15 years.
Really?
And for 13 of them, I've been made fun of.
Really?
Oh my God. Even my trainer was like, hey, we got to do yoga. I'm like, man, I'm not doing that stuff, man. No way. And then it just helps. It helps connect the mind and body. And I tell people, you know, I was just doing a speech at an event and they said, you know, what's the key to making it to the NFL? I said, one is you know, having faith and believing in something higher than yourself, for me at least.
Yeah.
And 2, I said, you're going to laugh at me, but yoga. And sure enough, everybody started laughing. And I'm like, I'm telling you, you got to hit your downward dog. You got to connect to yourself. You got to, you know, and sometimes in yoga they say, you know, leave everything at the door. I mean, how many places do you go that says that?
Well, I mean, I think we could use more of that. I think constantly right now with our phones, your computer, TV screens everywhere, you're just constantly engaged. And I think part of the success of yoga is that you do get that meditative quality.
Right.
You know, I think people always laugh like meditation's that thing that guy would do in the Ninja Turtles, the Splinter, you know?
Yeah.
Every time they're about to go out and fight crime, he's just meditating, you know, and it's like the wacky thing. But really, that's a gift to take some time for yourself for even an hour, you know, where nothing is bothering you.
Yeah.
You know, your brain needs that.
Your brain needs it. You know, it changed my career 6 years in, you know, doing meditation and going to yoga. And I think, too, that people it's easy to give a knock to trying to do too much, because if you're an opportunist, hey, there's an opportunity to learn, right? There's an opportunity to see what my friends are doing on Instagram or Snapchat. But sometimes not taking an opportunity is the best thing for you.
Yeah.
You know, and whether it's yoga or coming in here and recovering, I mean, they build, you know, resolve within you to go out and achieve ultimately your goals.
So with that in mind, when you're talking about your goals, what's something you think you're going to be remembered for?
You know,
Right now, at least, you know?
yeah, that's an interesting question, because I've kind of abandoned the need to be remembered, you know?
Really?
If you think about it,
Yeah.
most people aren't, right? You know what I mean? Like, even in our family histories, you know, if you're lucky, you know it, and it's handed down generation to generation, but fixating on how I will be remembered versus how I'm living is two different things. And I'd much rather focus on how I'm living, so that my son, my daughter, when I pass, they have a part of me with them. I mean, my grandmother passed, and I live her spirit every day. And for me, I love focusing on how I'm living versus how I'll be remembered, because that's ultimately not up to me. And perhaps, you know, we'll have space logs and things like that that'll help people remember, holograms that answer questions. But I want to live happy every day.
I wonder if I'll have a sassy hologram or not.
Make one. There you go. You can hand it generation until they change the technology, until 4K goes to 5K, and then you're scrubby on the digital screen. You know.
Man, that's gonna be a weird world one day.
Yeah, it already is, isn't it?
It is kind of weird right now.
What happened to Blockbuster, dude?
I remember going to Blockbuster when I was a little kid and like pointing up at the movie I wanted to see,
Yeah.
because they don't put the good movies down here.
No.
This is where the kids' movies go.
No.
I'm looking up there. I'm looking at Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
That was my
Judge Dredd,
favorite movie.
Stuff like that. You know,
Judge Dredd?
They had the movie candies too. You know, like they had the movie popcorn, like the Twizzlers, and when I first got my license, my parents were like, "You can go to the." Cause I was like, "I'm gonna go to a movie store." They're like, "We gotta take your sister." I'm like, "Oh man, lame man," but we go. That's where we go. You know, spend 20 minutes, pick out a movie, and be kind. Please rewind. You know.
And it's like, if the guy isn't nice, you're like, I'm gonna rewind it,
Yeah.
but I don't want to.
I don't want to. I don't want to do it for you. It teaches you about people.
Always like that. I thought Blockbuster would be a fun job when I was in college, but they all closed down by the time I got there.
Closed, bro. Rotary phones and Blockbusters gone.
You know, they had the opportunity to buy Netflix, I think.
Yeah.
Blockbuster did, and they just turned it down. They're like, nah, who's gonna want to do that?
Crazy. That's why I love telling people about owning what you buy, though. I've had Netflix stock. Remember when they announced they stopped doing DVDs?
Yeah.
Oh, their stock dropped like 50% or something. I bought more because I'm like, this is the future. You know, no one's going to the movie store anymore. You're getting this right away.
Well, that too, like, DVDs take up how much room in your house,
Yeah.
you know? It's this
Don't
huge
scratch
library.
it. Don't scratch it.
And then you gotta go get it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that issue, I think, the issue there is that people are always afraid of change first, you know?
Yeah.
They're not looking 10 years out like, okay, what's the true benefit? I don't know how you feel about like lab-grown meats, but that's something that I tried the other day over at Alamo Draft House. They have a Beyond Meat
The
burger.
Beyond Meat, yeah.
And so I was like, I've heard about this, I'll try it. And it was amazing. And so I posted about it. And the first comment was a good friend of mine who said, straight up, if you don't like meat, don't eat meat from an animal, you know? And it's like, well, what if we are in the future 50 years from now and we need to grow meat in space, you know? I'm not going to bring along a farm. Like,
What if in a refugee camp you can grow meat that provides nutrients and sustenance to people who need it? I mean, let's not be short-sighted. I mean, change is inevitable, right?
but it focuses on people are always looking at the one thing that makes them angry about the change, you know? There's already issues being talked about, like animal rights or how we treat them for consumption, you know? It's like, there's a lot there, so...
Yeah, but I mean, you know, talking again though about that lifestyle, especially as a professional athlete, so many athletes are going to the vegetarian vegan lifestyle. I mean,
I've heard about that.
I got my Speedo vibes that you'll see sometimes on Instagram or Snapchat because I'm eating arugula, you know what I mean, and quinoa, or it's quinoa, you know what I mean? But it helps you perform, you know, and it's funny, when I started in the NFL, Fridays we used to get pizza and Popeyes.
Yeah.
And before you left on an away game, you had Popeyes before you got on the plane. You shouldn't be eating that before the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, you know, my last couple of years in the NFL, there's kale and sweet potato salads going on in the plane. I mean, even the NFL teams, the roughest, toughest teams you've ever thought of,
Mowing down
are giving you different food, are giving you some arugula, some quinoa, you know what I mean, some kale. I mean, whoever thought you'd get kale on an NFL plane, you know, But that's where that lifestyle comes into play, and that's where it's so frequent now amongst the top performers, not just in sport, but really in life. You gotta fuel your body the right way.
So it's kind of like you are what you eat.
You are what you eat. You are how you recover. You know what I mean? You are the opportunities you see to recover and perform, and a lot of that. You know, one of my favorite teammates in Super Bowl 50 season, Chris Harris Jr., says, you know, an interception on Sunday starts Tuesday on the couch. Like, you know, you got to live that life. You got to study that film. And for me, you know, living a healthy lifestyle is part of, you know, focusing on how I live happy every day.
Right. So we know that it's good to eat healthy, but you got a guilty pleasure? You got a treat for yourself, a go-to?
Dude, I used to be 300 pounds, man.
Really?
You know what I mean? Well, I mean, I played 300, 315, and the mango key lime cheesecake at Cheesecake Factory, delicious. You know, sweet potato pie. I'm a sweet potato pie guy, you know. But Coca-Cola still to this day. I know it's bad for you. I know it's high in sugar, high fructose corn. I get it, man. But if I'm going to die, man, let me have some Coca-Cola.
Just give me a Coke.
I mean? And I get the little ones, you know what I'm saying? The smaller ones now, but sometimes, man, it just feels good, man. What about you?
I mean, me personally, my guilty pleasure, brownies.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you make, I haven't had a birthday cake since I was 7 years old because my mom was like, he just eats the brownies, you know?
Yeah.
So every year I'll just eat a tray of brownies for my birthday, and that's my day.
Hey, man,
You
that's
know?
a good day.
That's my day. That's my best day.
Nice, yeah. You might need some water, some solution afterwards.
Yeah, I'll need that and maybe a trip to the treadmill, but
There you go. But it's worth it.
it is worth it, man, because you know what you like, and sometimes you just gotta have it.
Yeah.
Well, how's your phone doing? You know, here we do have phone chargers right in the chair. We've got blankets, heating pads. You know, we're about halfway through. Actually, more than that.
Yeah, I mean,
on the comfort side, how you doing?
man, I'm always comfortable when I come in. That's part of it. I mean, even these chairs, man. You know, it's the comfortable chairs.
Right.
You know, I usually when I go to the location I go to, yeah, they got the nice, you know, comfy. But you know, I get some warm herbal tea, and oftentimes I'll come before my radio show just to kind of relax and refuel and hydrate, especially because sometimes I work out in the morning. But I'm always comfortable, man. I can always recharge my phone. I can always catch up on sports. You got the TVs in here all the time. So, you know, I really get to take time for myself and recover, which will make me better and where I'm going next.
Proactively.
But I also get to, it's kind of a me time space. It's not just a recovery space, and that's what makes it so enjoyable.
That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. I mean, that's why we started the company. We started it actually from mountain biking. You know, we try this after a mountain bike race and feel amazing, ready to ride your bike again. And a lot of these races were in like Nevada and Las Vegas or in Scottsdale, Arizona, which those are two of the kind of epicenters for this whole IV thing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of those places focus on hangovers though, and that was never our game.
Yeah.
We never tried it for a hangover until much later on.
Yeah, whether it's a hangover or an exertion or dehydration or, you know, before an event like we used to do in the NFL, I mean, it just helps just recharge that battery. And especially when you're dealing with high exertion, you know, I mean, your entire system, you know, your adrenal glands can get affected. You know, magnesium's huge. That's why I always make sure to get it because it's a huge stress, you know, helps you a lot with stress, helps you a lot with losing salt. So, I mean, you really just gain multiple benefits by coming in and refueling on this, you know.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man. I love selling it mostly because, you know, you're helping people, but also you get this kind of conversation.
Yeah.
I love that.
I've met a lot of good people at Onus, too. Just other people getting IVs, people trying them for the first time. Mothers bringing their daughters bringing their mothers, you know, dads that are sick, dads that are healthy, that don't want to get sick. You know, I sat next to an Olympic athlete one time, so I mean, it's always fun. You always sit next to somebody.
Well, it's interesting that you'll get those kind of personalities because some people will come from, you know, whatever background it is, you know. We've had a guy who owned a liquor store who sat next to a grandmother who was also seated next to another professional athlete. And they all had something to talk about because the ice is broken, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I always enjoy seeing that in the space because it's pretty organic. And people talk about some pretty random stuff sometimes, you know, like, I don't know, do you believe in Bigfoot? Or when do you think we're going to outer space, you know?
Yeah. Bigfoot is real and bury me in space. You know, that's what I'm saying. No, but it's part of that. It's also part of that lifestyle, though, right? Like when you live healthy, you're willing to try new things. Like you're gonna have conversations with people next to you who are doing the same thing as you, and you continue to grow that way.
Mm-hmm. You said Bigfoot's real.
Bigfoot's real.
You got any proof, or you've seen him?
I've seen people with big feet. They got the, meet Shaq. That's Bigfoot. You know, he's got like 22s or something. You know, but. There's something out there we don't know. I'm okay with that.
You're from Minnesota, right?
I'm from Minnesota. I know there's.
How do they feel about Bigfoot up there?
There's a part of the woods you don't go to, man. You know, it's been that way forever, and I think that's where you'll find Bigfoot someday.
In the part of the woods you don't go to.
Part of the woods you don't go to.
Do you know where that is?
I don't go to it.
Oh, well, there you go.
I stay safe, man. You know.
Gotta stay safe.
Yeah.